They said that patch of Montana dirt was worthless, just a forgotten line in an old will, a place only coyotes and prairie wind would bother with. That's what I believed too, right up until the moment my boots hit the imported gravel outside Willowbrook Estates, and everything I thought I knew about family land and justice went up in smoke. 8 hours in a beat-up Chevy radio spitting static every mile, dragging me closer to signing away my so-called inheritance, 1,500 acres of scrub. Pulling up expecting nothing but tumbleweed, and instead finding a gold-lettered gate polished to a mirror. Behind it, McMansions glittering under the summer sun, a fake lake sparkling blue golf carts buzzing around like bees on a sugar high, private security standing tall, gated, exclusive, like some little kingdom carved out of nowhere. Didn't matter. I had the original 1847 deed signed by hands long turned to dust. The guard barely looked at it, already smirking at my boots and my battered flannel telling me to move along private property, buddy. Seconds later, a matte black Tesla glides up window, rolling down sunglasses so big I could see my own frown in them. The HOA president herself, Vivian Hartwell, cold as the steel-toed boots I was standing in. "Officer, this man doesn't belong here. Escort him out." Her voice could have sliced ice. Crunch, crunch, imported gravel under my heels. Wrists zip-tied behind my back. Didn't even get to spit out a protest before my family's name, my whole damn legacy, was trampled under the wheels of a golf cart parade. They'd built a $40 million empire here. Every mansion, every green lawn without so much as a handshake or a signature from us. Thought they were untouchable. Thought the law was just another fence they could buy. That was their first mistake. My Uncle Ezra, old-school Vietnam vet, stubborn as prairie grass, raised me after the world collapsed when I was 12. He worked those fields till his hands bled paid taxes like clockwork for half a century. "Land feeds you, you feed it back," he'd say. Not fancy, no swimming pool, no tennis court, just a cabin, a creek, and a promise. When he died, I figured the lawyers would find maybe 50 acres to my name. The will, written in that shaky script, left it all lands described on original homestead claim of 1847. Figured it was a joke. Turns out the joke was on Willowbrook. Instead of lost pasture, I found a locked gate and a neighborhood built on bones. The queen bee herself met me with a sneer, dismissing my paperwork with a flick of her fingers, obviously forged. "Do you even know what property values mean here?" she asked. Like the dirt under her manicured lawn could ever have meant more to her than it meant to me. Minutes later, private security's got me zip-tied, and her husband Brad is already on the phone with a judge he plays golf with. Judge Morrison signs a restraining order without so much as a "how do you do." Local news shows up, just happening to be there catching me looking like the bad guy. Channel 7 calls me a violent drifter. My Chevy makes the screen. Now I'm a threat to the peace, not a guy holding his own family's deed. Vivian's show of force was quick, brutal, and effective. But there's something bullies always forget. Old families, like old trees, got roots they can't see. And my uncle taught me to dig deep. Spent the next week living off gas station coffee and courthouse air, shuffling through records back to the Civil War. Land records, tax receipts, deeds with signatures so faded they might as well have been written in smoke. And that's where it broke wide open. The county only sold 347 acres after the developer went bust. The other 1,153, never touched, never taxed, never legally handed over. My uncle's taxes had been paid every single year. No loopholes, no missed notices. The land was never theirs to sell. Janet at the clerk's office, gray hair, sharper mind, remembered the old fights. "Your uncle whipped the railroad, you know." Judge made him mark every boundary, concrete posts, brass plates, GPS coordinates. She found me those survey maps, dusty but solid. That's when the pieces started to fall. Dave Morrison, son of the surveyor, met me at his shop over the whir of engine grease and the hum of old memories. He still had his father's notes, GPS markers logged the old-fashioned way. We hiked out past the mansions and manicured lawns, and there they were, concrete markers weathered by 40 Montana winters but still standing strong. I wasn't alone anymore. Dave was with me, and Trevor, the guard, ex-Army, tired of watching decent folks get steamrolled, started slipping me info. Vivian wasn't just ruthless, she was reckless. $800 fines for Christmas lights, board meetings where residents were called investment protection units. Trevor gave me recordings, proof that she thought of her neighbors as assets, not people. Vivian cranked up the heat, filing restraining orders, hiring muscle, getting black SUVs to tail me everywhere, grocery stores, parking lots. the motel. But the tighter she squeezed, the more cracks appeared. Dave introduced me to Sarah Sterling, environmental lawyer with a reputation for ripping holes in developer schemes. Her office smelled like strong coffee and old barnwood. She nearly danced when she saw the 1978 survey. "Land fraud's my favorite kind of fight," she said. Sarah dug deeper than anyone before. Found Willowbrook skipped environmental reviews, built on protected wetlands, dumped chemicals right into Eagle Creek. And those utilities, every pipe, every wire, every internet cable trespassing on land they never owned. The fines could pay for a new high school. Better yet, Brad Vivian's husband personally approved every one of those illegal utility lines. She kept the fraud in the family. Residents started coming out of the woodwork. George and Linda Morrison brought evidence embezzlement forgeries checks, written out of community accounts for Hawaiian vacations and kitchen makeovers. Linda whispered that Vivian threatened to bankrupt them if they spoke up. Now 3 utility companies, scared out of their minds, were offering settlements just to keep it quiet. Vivian, seeing her world collapse, tried everything. Hired mercenaries to destroy boundary markers caught on trail cams, swinging sledgehammers at concrete like fools. Tried to bribe Janet, the clerk offered $50,000 to make records go missing. Janet called the DA before the money was out of the envelope. Finally, she tried to get me committed, hired a shrink who'd never met me, claimed I was delusional and dangerous. Sarah filed a motion with a judge who actually read things. That was a first. But the real twist, Patricia, Sarah's forensic accountant, found emails buried in old bankruptcy files, internal memos plain as day. Vivian had known the land wasn't hers for 20 years. Her plan was to outlast the family, wait for us to scatter, then pounce. She'd laundered $650,000 through shell companies, staged her own hate crimes for insurance, even plotted to have me disappear with a hitman. FBI wiretaps caught her promising cash for an accident. The guy she hired was an undercover agent. It all crashed down on a hot Saturday morning. EPA shut off the water. Pools, dried up lawns went brown. The fake lake started to stink. Residents packed the community center, angry and scared. I showed up with boxes of evidence, deeds, emails, photos, bank records. FBI agents lined the walls. Vivian walked in, shackled face drawn tight as piano wire. The meeting was chaos, shouts of, "Where's our money and you lied to us?" Alexander. Me took the mic, laid it out. 25 years of fraud, every home sitting on stolen land. Played the tape, Vivian hiring a hitman, trying to burn down the HOA office, staging insurance claims. Agent Rodriguez stood up, reading off charges like a laundry list. RICO, wire fraud, mail fraud, insurance fraud, arson, attempted murder, 400 years worth of time. Turns out I said you never belonged here at all. The vote to accept the settlement was unanimous. Every family, every home. Residents kept their houses, paying $1 a year legal ownership at last. Vivian was hauled out. The last thing she saw was neighbors cheering not for me, but for each other, for finally being free. 6 months later, Willowbrook was gone, replaced by Eagle Creek Conservation Community. HOA fees slashed, kids playing where signs used to forbid noise gardens, where ornamental fountains used to waste water. The fake lake became a wetland, wildlife came back, elk, deer, trout. The university opened a research station. Scholarship money named after Uncle Ezra sent local kids to study conservation, not just construction. Vivian got 23 years, Brad got 8. Everything they built on lies gone. The state passed a law to keep this from ever happening again. FBI made it a case study. House values rebounded, the community thrived, even the wildflowers came back. Standing out on the prairie, watching kids splash in Eagle Creek, it hit me. Uncle Ezra was right. Land doesn't belong to us. We belong to it. You honor it by leaving it better than you found it. That's the real victory, not revenge, not punishment, but proving the old ways were right all along. Folks say every town's got its Vivian, a petty tyrant with a clipboard or a title, thinking rules are for everyone else. The question isn't if you'll meet one, it's what you'll do when you do. What's the worst power trip you've seen? Who tried to steamroll you and did you fight back? Share your story below. And if you believe good land deserves good people standing up for it, go ahead and subscribe. Some battles are worth every bruise, every late night, every damn mile it takes.